please hit that subscribe button. Hey everybody, better suited to win the Stanley Cup this season. If you are new to the channel, Washington Capitals, the Boston Bruins.
Locked on and he scored! And we're live. Hey everybody, so it's time for another hit or miss video here where I look at NHL teams' first round draft picks from 2005 through 2015 and determine if each pick is a hit or a miss. And we've started the Atlantic Division with the Boston Bruins, so I figured the next team we should do the Toronto Maple Leafs. So we're going to be talking about Toronto in this one, guys. Before we start, I just ask that you please hit that subscribe button if you're new and give this video a thumbs up if you haven't already, so that would greatly help out the channel. But let's get into it here. Toronto Maple Leafs first round picks from 2005 through 2015, starting in 2005 where they selected 21st overall and took goaltender Tuukka Rask. Now this pick itself is a massive hit, as Rask has gone on to be one of the best goalies in the NHL. He's played 536 career games, going 291, 158, and 64 in his career, with a .922 save percentage and a 2.26 goals against average. Absolutely spectacular career numbers from Tuukka Rask. Won the Vezina Trophy in 2014. Gonna be in the running for the Vezina Trophy for this season. He's been a very successful goalie with the Boston Bruins. The problem is, yes, he's been a very successful goalie with the Boston Bruins. Toronto made a great pick here, and then they traded him away for Andrew freaking Raycroft, who had one good year in the NHL and was basically complete garbage since. So, yeah, that was a very bad trade for Toronto, but the pick itself was absolutely outstanding. Moving on now to 2006. They selected 13th overall and took forward Jiri Tlusty, who is a miss in my opinion, as Tlusty did have an NHL career and played 446 games in the league. However, he never really developed offensively, only scoring 89 goals and 88 assists for 177 points and a -12 rating. Was never really more than a third liner. And for a top 15 draft pick in the first round, you're looking for more than that. And Tlusty, was out of the league after a few seasons as being kind of a third line type guy. So, yeah, we're going to go with miss on that one. 2007, they did not have a first-round pick, so we move on to 2008, where they selected 5th overall and took defenseman Luke Schenn. This is another miss, as Luke Schenn has had a long and pretty solid NHL career, however, has been a career depth defenseman. He never, ever became anything worthy of being a top 10 draft pick, and certainly not a top 5 draft pick. He's played 759 games in his career, scoring 31 goals, 117 assists for 148 points and a -63 rating. I like Luke Schenn as a player, but he was nowhere near being worthy of a top 10 draft pick. I like him as a depth defenseman. I thought he had some pretty solid seasons, particularly in Philadelphia as a bottom pair guy. And, he's a good, pretty tough physical defenseman who I would like on my team, but as a number 6 or number 7 guy, not anything in your top 4 or anything like that. So Luke Schenn, I think he was rushed to the NHL too early by Toronto, and I think that damaged his development and his confidence, and really he was never really on a path to succeed at the NHL level. I think he was just forced into a way too big of a role way too early in his career, and he just couldn't live up to it, and he was just never the same since. But definitely a miss here with that at number 5 overall. 2009, they selected 7th overall and took center Nazem Kadri. Now this one is a hit. Kadri is now with the Colorado Avalanche, but he is putting together a very solid NHL career as a middle-of-your-lineup type center, as a second or third line guy. Had some really good years with Toronto. Now he's in Colorado. 612 games played, 180 goals, 213 assists for 393 career points, and a -20 rating. He's been a good two-way player for a long time in the league now, and he obviously still very much in the prime of his NHL career, and has a bright future in the league still as well. So that was a good pick, 7th overall. 2010, they did not have a first-round draft pick, so we move on to 2011, where they had 2 first-round picks. The first one coming 22nd overall, where they took right wing Tyler Biggs. And this is a miss, obviously, as Biggs never even played an NHL game. Zeros across the board for him. Games played, points, everything, straight zeros for Tyler Biggs. They picked again 25th overall and took defenseman Stewart Percy. And this is another miss, as Percy only ever played 12 NHL games, scoring no goals, 3 assists, and 3 points, and a -6 rating. Absolutely never lived up to being a first-round pick, as he barely touched NHL ice. 2012, they selected 5th overall and made up for the previous year misses by taking defenseman Morgan Rielly. Now, this one is obviously a massive hit, as Rielly is one of the best players on the Toronto Maple Leafs now, still on the team, their best defenseman by far, in my opinion. He's played 517 games, scoring 54 goals, 216 assists for 270 career points and a -40 rating. Really, really good, solid player for them. Still a young guy, still just kind of entering the prime of his career. Can produce points, plays well defensively. Really, really solid player in Morgan Rielly. 2013, they selected 21st overall, and with that pick, they took center Frederick Gautier. Now, I'm going to call this one a hit because it was a late first-round draft pick, and over the past 2 seasons, Gautier has become a regular in the Maple Leafs lineup. Now, certainly it's been as a depth player, and he's mostly played on the 4th line, but he's played 168 games, 13 goals, 18 assists for 31 points and a -8 rating. And because he's become a regular in the lineup and is playing night in and night out over the past few seasons, I'm going to say Gautier is a hit because late in the first round, you're just looking to get an NHL player, and they got one with Gautier, and he's still young and is going to continue to play a depth role in that lineup, I believe. 2014, they selected 8th overall, and with that pick, they took forward William Nylander. And with that pick, it's an absolute hit. 307 games played, 86 goals, 135 assists, 221 points, and a +12 rating for Willie Nylander. He's just got a big new contract with the team last season, and Nylander is one of the big 4, as I like to talk about, on Toronto with Tavares, Matthews, Marner, and Nylander. Those are the big 4, and Nylander is one of those guys. He's a great player and definitely a hit for the Maple Leafs. And finally, 2015, 4th overall, they selected forward Mitch Marner. This one is obviously a massive hit as well, as Marner is an even better piece of the big 4 in Toronto. He's one of their absolute best players. 300 games played, 83 goals, 208 assists for 291 points in 300 career games and a +27 rating. Mitch Marner is going to be a better than point per game player over the course of his career. He's obviously still very young, still growing, still getting better, and I think he's going to have multiple point per game, or better than point per game seasons, and will be a point per game player over the course of his career. There's really not much more to say about that. Massive hit with Mitch Marner in 2015. So there you have it, guys. Toronto's hit or miss. Obviously, we saw some misses, particularly early, but lately they've been drafting pretty well, and they've been much better for sure drafting, through 2012, 13, 14, 15 than they were drafting, in the late 2000s and early part of the 2010s. So, you can see Toronto getting better, not only as a team, but as a organization and with their drafting and scouting and all of that as well. So there you have it, guys. That is hit or miss Toronto Maple Leafs. Hit that like button, subscribe, comment, share, all of that. If you want to follow on social media, the links are down in the description. If you want to follow... if you want to further support the channel, the links to our Patreon and merchandise store are down in the description as well. Keep spreading the word about this channel. Let's keep this thing growing. Thank you for watching. Really helps out a lot and means a lot to have everyone watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll talk to you guys soon.